So proud of the group that has come together around this to make this happen. And it provides some solace, but closure, I'm not sure we'll ever get to closure. I miss Sam every single day. And so does his sister and his dad, and our lives will never be the same again.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Whitney Ward. It has been just over 2 years since WSU freshman Sam Martinez died of alcohol poisoning after an event at his fraternity. We've been tracking this story and its aftermath ever since his death, and today his family reached a major milestone in their push for change. First, though, we do want to remind you of what has happened since his death. So Sam Martinez was found dead on November 12th of 2019 after an event at the Alpha Tau Omega fraternity. Through a public records request, we received body cam footage of the response that following morning that Sam Martinez was found. Due to difficulties with witness interviews and problems getting into Sam's phone, the Pullman Police Department's investigation lasted too long to actually charge anyone with a crime of hazing. Instead, on June 2nd of 2021, Whitman County prosecutors brought misdemeanor charges of furnishing liquor to a minor to 15 members of that fraternity. And of those 15 charged, one person, Wesley Oswald, was sentenced to 19 days in jail and made to pay a $500 fine. 7 more fraternity members then pleaded guilty and had to serve 1 day in jail along with fines and probation. 7 others that had their cases continued. If they meet conditions put forward by the state, their cases would then be dropped. That will happen next month. Now, Martinez's mother, she and her father called the punishment today extremely minor.
If just one person had stopped or said stop, if one person had called for help when Sam was in trouble, Sam would still be with us right now. And that's really hard for us to live with.
Now, since then, his parents have decided to push for changes for hazing laws here in Washington to honor Sam's memory. We go now to our Ian Smay, who has been following this story with more on how some of their efforts paid off today. Ian?
Yeah, so Martinez's family reached a major milestone today. During his 2 o'clock bill signing, Governor Jay Inslee signed a bill called Sam's Law. The hazing legislation is aimed at 2 goals: setting more in-depth reporting requirements for organizations when it comes to hazing. It would also require colleges and universities to beef up education efforts when it comes to hazing. The law applies to not only colleges, but also athletic teams, student organizations, or any other living groups and organizations. The bill, House Bill 1751, passed both chambers of the legislature unanimously. It was amended to be officially known as Sam's Law in Martinez's honor. I spoke with Sam's mom, Jolene Houts, earlier today. She said she was thankful to the small army of people who have helped them during the past 2 years, as well as those who helped get the law passed. She said this was an emotional day for her.
Oh, I have a lot of emotions today. I have been waiting for this moment, and I guess the first thing to say is this wouldn't have happened without a whole army of people behind us, supporting us.
Thanked Representative Mary Levitt, who sponsored the bill. She also said she and Sam's father, Hector Martinez, are pushing for more changes to hazing laws. Next year, they plan on pushing the legislature to make hazing a felony instead of just a gross misdemeanor. Coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, I'll have more from my interview with Martinez's mom about what today's bill signing means for her son's legacy. In the studio, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. The Spokane County Sheriff is pushing back after county commissioners approved a $1 million settlement to the family of a man killed by a deputy almost 3 years ago. Ethan Murray was shot and killed in 2019 after reports of a man believed to be high scaring children at a Spokane Valley apartment complex. Deputies say he refused to cooperate and then ran into the woods near Mirabeau Park, then lunged at the officer and reached into his waistband. At the time, the deputy said he thought Murray had a knife, though it was later determined to just be a pair of sunglasses. Murray's family says Ethan was in the middle of a mental health crisis and didn't deserve to die. They say instead he just needed help. The Spokane County Prosecutor's Office later determined the deputy was justified in his use of deadly force. I had a chance to sit down with both Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich and the prosecutor Larry Haskell today. I asked what needs to change to try and prevent police-involved shootings, especially when it involves those with mental illness. Both told me in this particular case, they believe the deputy everybody involved did everything right. They also say the current system is set up to fail people like Ethan Murray, who struggled with mental illness. There is now this $1 million settlement that has been approved. What are the lessons learned to bring into your department about how to respond in those situations? Do you think everything in that incident with Murray happened exactly as it was supposed to?
It happened exactly how it was brought forward. One thing that you don't realize, and I wish I could put a badge on you and put you out on the field and have you experience what that was really like. De-escalation only works if we have the time, the place, the opportunity, and the individual has the ability to be de-escalated. Some people don't have that ability if they are suffering extreme mental illness or are extremely high on drugs.
When officers violate the law, if the facts available to my office meet the statutory standard, they're going to be charged and the prosecution will move forward just like any other case. I would hope that the public would take great pride in the fact that the officers are following the law.
And coming up tonight on KREM News at 6, hear more of our exclusive conversation, including how the sheriff believes the state needs to do a lot more to make mental health interventions a priority. Now, Ethan Murray's family did release a statement today after that settlement, reading in part, "$1 million settlement speaks louder than any denial of wrongdoing. It's never enough," they said, and it won't bring Ethan back. But his mother is going to use it now for great things for people struggling with mental illness in the Inland Empire. You can find that full statement from the family on our website. Just go to KREM.com. Now to some breaking news. The search is on for a suspect in a shooting off of Trent in the Spokane Valley. That shooting also causing a lot of traffic delays as Trent is closed in both directions as deputies continue their investigation. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk is live at the scene right now. Kyle, what do we know at this hour?
Well, just before noon today, the Sheriff's Department got a report of a shooting at the Red Top Motel. When deputies responded, witnesses said the gunman shot at 2 people. One was hit. That woman was taken to the hospital and is reported to be in critical condition. The other person wasn't hurt and is talking with police. So the Major Crimes Unit is still canvassing the area for witnesses, but no arrests have been made yet. Despite that, the Sheriff's Department doesn't believe there's a risk to the general public. And 3 West Valley schools and a couple of daycare centers were forced to go into a modified lockdown today while deputies responded to the scene. Now, we don't know if the suspect and the victims knew each other. We do know the critically injured woman was living at the motel at the time. So deputies are asking anyone with information, anyone who witnessed anything today, to call Crime Check. That number 456-2233. Reporting live in Spokane Valley, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. Well, it was Labor Day of 2020. The Babb Road fire ripped through the towns of Malden and Pine City. It wiped out 80% of the homes in those communities and changed the lives of dozens of families. About a year later, the DNR did release its final report of exactly what happened. They found strong winds knocked a branch off of a diseased tree, which then fell onto a nearby Avista power line. Today, a year and a half since that fire, those Malden and Pine City families are now suing Avista. Our Amanda Rowley has been following the aftermath of this story from the very beginning. She was at the press conference today where their lawyers laid out their case. Amanda?
Yeah, Whitney, 2 law firms are joining together to represent more than 27 Malden and Pine City families who lost everything in the Babb Road fire in 2020. This morning, they filed a lawsuit against Avista for failing to remove the diseased tree where the fire started. Now, the DNR investigation does not explicitly blame Avista for the fire, but the attorneys here representing Malden and Pine City families say it's clear the power company was responsible for preventing this devastating fire. Now, in the lawsuit, the lawyers claim Avista allowed the defective tree to grow for many years alongside its power lines. According to the lawsuit, Avista should have been aware of the hazard this tree presented and had it removed or trimmed before the fire.
To us, this was an obvious and known heavily defective tree which was diseased. Avista had the obligation to monitor, inspect its lines, identify this tree as a serious problem, and it failed to do that.
Now, the lawsuit lists several ways in which Avista failed in this responsibility to maintain vegetation near its power lines. According to their attorneys, the families listed in the lawsuit are in various stages of rebuilding their homes and their lives. But for most of them, it is still a long road to recovery. Now, the lawsuit does not list a specific dollar amount requested for damages. This morning, the lawyers said they will leave that to the jury to decide. Now, I called Avista several times today for comment and so far have been unsuccessful. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. And now we turn our attention to weather. And actually, it was somewhat of a windy day out there, just as Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo had predicted. We knew that it was going to be mild, but definitely a little bite to that wind today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those ones where it's a stark reminder that we are not even close to summer yet. But here we are. Temperatures on the mild side, 56 degrees right now. And look at that wind, west-southwest at 28 miles per hour. That gives it a bit of a bite. Not officially a wind chill just because it's too warm to get an official wind chill. That's what happens when you get into this time of year, but it does have a bit of a bite out there. 51 in Coeur d'Alene, 50 in Sandpoint, and 62 in Moses Lake. Wind will stay strong until about the time the sun goes down, and then that wind will start to die down and slowly shift to more westerly and northwesterly and usher in a little more cold air. Right now, a bulk of that moisture stays off to the north. A couple of sprinkles down near Interstate 90 is going to be about the extent of it. We will see some of these kind of lingering showers into tomorrow morning over the mountainous areas, but for the most part, we're relatively dry here in eastern Washington and North Idaho. Maybe tomorrow afternoon, a stray flurry up in the mountains, but that's really about it. Temperatures trend down, but tomorrow, guess what? Even more sunshine and temps, well, they climb back up into the mid-50s.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Still to come tonight, fentanyl use is surging across the country and right here in the inland Northwest.
And the reason that is so frightening is because those fentanyl-laced pills are getting into every aspect of our community.
In an exclusive sit-down interview, our Mark Hanrahan found answers to just how bad the problem really is in our area. More on what he found coming up here in just a few moments. First, though, the city of Spokane investing in construction. Spokane announcing a multi-million-dollar budget for upcoming projects. We'll tell you what they're hoping to get done with all that money.